Welcome to another edition of the We Are Pod, your weekly dose of inspiration, fun, insights, and education about life as a female and quite often a male in our amazing industry. As ever, huge thanks to our fantastic sponsors, Digital Sparks, who are an amazing content creator for so many agents and suppliers across the industry. And of course, they are brilliant producers of our pod every single week. So welcome to this week's dose of the WIA Pod. Today's guest on the pod is another fantastic woman, a mum of 3 or 4 if you include her business, which she refers to as her 4th child. She is the founder and director of Banfield Estate Agents in Crowborough in Sussex. Please welcome the phenomenal Fiona Banfield.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me on. It's lovely to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us, Fiona. And this is, as always, an opportunity for us to delve into the stories and the experiences of so many amazing women in our industry. But your story started a little bit in an unorthodox way. So tell us how you got into this crazy industry.
It was a little bit crazy getting into it. It all started years ago. I was 19. I rented a bedroom in a farmhouse, a big farmhouse, 7 bedrooms. There was 8 of us all living in there, and I just had a tiny little room. It was all fine. After about 6 months, I sort of realised one by one people were moving out, and I realised that I was actually there on my own.
Wow.
Completely. So it was all a little bit weird. So.
And where was this farmhouse?
It was in East Sussex. It was in Surrey.
Okay.
It was in Godstone,
Yeah.
just on the outskirts of Croydon. And so, long story short, was I got in touch with the landlord and I said to him, "Would you like me to manage the property for you?" And he said, "I'd love that." Then I got to know the landlord, and I filled the house up, looked after it for nothing. And I had the nicest bedroom, surprisingly. And
You had to take the benefits.
Exactly. So, and then that then led to me getting to know David very well, and he then offered me a job in Florida. So I went out to America, a little bit blind, not really knowing what I was getting into. I arrived on something like the Wednesday, and he said to me, "Oh yes, this is where you're going to live. This is your car. This is where this is the properties that we've got." And I think
so he wanted you to manage properties in Florida.
Yes. Yeah. So I went out there purely to sort of give him a hand, and then he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going back to England soon." So I said, "Oh, okay, that's fine. And when are you going?" "Oh, Sunday." "Okay. And how long are you going for?" "I'm not sure." So he came back to England, and by the time he came back to Florida, I'd already done a course to look after swimming pools, and I knew how, I was doing all the lawn mowing and everything and looking after the properties. And then by the time he got back to America, I'd already started my Florida real estate exams. So I then got qualified.
Because it takes a long time out there. It's tricky.
It was quite. It's a degree.
Yeah.
And it was quite hard work. And not knowing anything about American law, and it's very different there. So
well done, you. Amazing.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. So yes, I was very pleased with myself for getting through that. And then I had 5 years there. And I had a great time. I had a really good time. It was beautiful scenery. Got to meet some interesting people. But I was terribly homesick.
Right.
So I missed my family. And then I decided when my visa was coming to an end that I would then come home and settle down back in England.
So when you were in Florida, did you sell property out there as well, or was it mostly property management?
So I would sell properties. So I had to be licensed as a real estate agent to sell or do anything.
Yeah.
So I would sell not houses but building plots.
Right.
To English people. They would then choose a building plot that they wanted.
Yeah.
I'd then try and find them a builder. So depending on what sort of property they wanted, I would then find a builder for them. They would instruct a builder, and then I would furnish the property for them when it was completed. Wow. That was heaven.
Yeah,
that was brilliant.
On their budget?
Yes,
perfect.
Absolutely. Here's $20,000, go spend.
Amazing.
So that was good fun. And then I would look after the properties, and I would rent them as holiday lets for English families coming to
So a whole
America.
start to finish process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So much more involved than a typical estate agency today.
Yeah. So I
Amazing.
had about 15 or 20 properties by the time I was coming back.
Yeah.
But you don't need a lot because I was so involved from beginning right the way through.
And you're earning fees the whole way through that process as well, which is obviously very
absolutely.
different. So moving back to the UK must have been a shock to the system then.
It was a bit chilly.
Yeah. Yeah, the weather would be definitely one of the big factors, right?
Absolutely, yes. My blood had very much thinned out. And I got back and I was frozen all the time.
Yeah.
And so it was amazing coming back. I had a very different experience and a different love of England. Loved the countryside, loved the seasons.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my gosh, I'd phone my mum and I'd be like, oh my God, have you seen the trees?
Yeah.
So yes, it was very different coming home. And I'd only been home for, I think, about a week or 2 weeks. And then I met who then became my husband. Wow. So it was a bit whirlwindy.
Yeah.
But yes, it was good to be home. And I missed my mum so much, my dad and my brother. And we're not a big family, but we're
You're
very
a close
knit.
Yeah.
Very close knit. So, so it was good to get back.
So how did you get back into the real estate industry in the UK?
So when I got back, I went corporate. So I worked for Halifax, but it looked like a little independent. So I worked in a branch called Donald Bill. Donald Bill was set up in 1912 for Donald Bill, and then was sold out within various takeovers. And Halifax owned the branch.
Right.
So they owned the branch, and they also had another branch in Crowborough and a bank. So we stayed as Donald Bill, and the building that we were in was built for him. So that's basically how it started, but it was quite short-lived because although we were owned by Halifax, we looked like an independent, and we were brilliant at residential sales, but not very good at mortgages.
Right,
And
that's ironic.
I know. So they didn't, and Halifax obviously
Needed the
wanted
mortgage
us
business.
purely for the mortgage business. So I'd only been there for about 2 years, and then they shut us down. So I took redundancy. Little did I know that I was pregnant with my son, who's now 24. And so then I set up the business in 2002 when my son was 6 months old.
Wow, that must have been challenging.
It was quite interesting. It was quite an interesting time.
So back then, Fiona, setting up your own estate agency business, today it is much more, there's a lot lower barrier to entry. It's much easier through a number of the networks. But back then, that was a much more of a challenging option. Why did you choose to set up your own independent business as opposed to working for someone else?
Both my husband and I had been estate agents, and when I was on maternity leave, if you like, or redundancy, I was doing varying bits and pieces. So I was doing inventories and bits and pieces, and it just seemed like the way to go forward. The both of us having a love for properties, and knowing the industry so well, and him having a different background to myself, but we felt that we could pull it together. and do it together. And we worked well together. So
Yeah. There's a lot of husband and wife teams, family businesses in estate agency. So
Yes.
I get that.
Yes.
And how was it working together in those early days?
We got on well. We got on really well. I didn't realise, I think it sort of showed up our flaws in our marriage.
Right.
But we spent a lot of time together.
Of course.
An awful lot of time together. And it was hard. And then you go home. He would always say to me that we had a sort of an 8 o'clock
Cut off.
Yeah. That after 8 o'clock, we're not
Yeah,
talking
an amnesty.
about work.
Yeah.
Yes. So, whereas I could have just continued all through the night and just never stopped talking about work.
I think that's a sensible decision to have an amnesty for family time.
Yes, yes, it was quite a wise move, even though I say so myself. At the time, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Yes, it worked quite well.
So you had a young son at this point, and
Yes.
then I know you wanted to extend your family.
Yes, I did.
And unfortunately, that wasn't as easy next time round. So
No.
tell us a little bit about that.
So 6 years, 6 miscarriages,
Wow.
fertility treatment, and just all sorts of horrible things. And yeah, it was a absolute roller coaster.
I can imagine.
Of a time, emotionally, physically, mentally, everything really takes its toll on your body. So when I had twins, oh my word, I was.
And were your twins natural? Were they IVF? How did
They
that?
were IUI,
Oh,
so
what's
which
that?
is similar to IVF,
Okay.
but it's not. I can't remember what the difference is, but it was IUI, which was similar. So I had to inject myself with
Okay.
varying drugs, which was horrible. Never take that up recreationally.
No, absolutely.
It's,
So that sort of begs the question, Fiona, because I can only imagine that for my first child, I didn't have to go as far as IVF, but I needed fertility drugs because I had polycystic ovaries. So it is so common for women to have to have assistance whenever trying to conceive. So, and I know the toll that can take. Why, if you already had a son, because I bet a lot of people said at the time, why do you keep trying? Because you've already got a child. Knowing that the toll that takes, year after year, month after month, cycle after cycle, when you're looking for that, positive sign on a stick. I've been there myself. Why did you keep trying for 6 years? What gave you the belief that it could happen after all that time?
I did believe it would happen eventually, and I would probably still be trying now.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would have ever given up. My desire was so great.
Yeah.
I so wanted more children.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how lucky I was with my
Amazing.
son, and then to have twins was just incredible.
So you had 2 girls.
2 little girls.
And how old are they now?
They're 18.
Wow. Okay, so they're not so little anymore.
Yes.
And what's the difference between the boy and your girls?
6 years and 5 days.
Are they close?
They're very close. They argue.
Oh,
they
of course.
get on each other's nerves. There's lots of traumas going on throughout the house. But no, they are very, very close. In the same way that I was always very close to my brother.
Yeah.
We used to fight like cat and dog, but we're still very, very close now.
I always think better that than ignoring each other.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they have gone through periods where they've been, oh, she gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You do get that, don't you?
Of course.
And then there's periods, but generally they are very, very close.
Yeah.
I have a very strict rule every day that we sit down for dinner, no devices at the table.
I love that.
It could be 9:30 at night
Yeah.
that we're eating dinner or starting dinner even.
Yeah.
But we always sit down together and we chat about our day. And I think that brings us all together, regardless of what's gone on during the day or the day before or whatever. So I think that's that's key to it. But
those
we're
little
all
practices
close.
make a difference, don't they?
It makes
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
huge
it does.
difference. Yeah, very
And
much
that is,
so.
it's challenging now, particularly as you say with devices.
Yeah.
But to be able to have that level of discipline, I take my hat off.
I get told
I
off.
haven't managed that one. I'm going to be honest. I haven't managed that level of discipline. So during all of that period of time, Fiona, I also know that sadly your marriage broke down
Yes, it
during that period of time, and I know you're happy to talk about this. So,
Yes.
you know, given that you're under so much pressure with young children, running a business together, and then when your marriage does break down, you have a life partner and a business partner, which complexifies the whole situation. So how did that affect both the business and the relationship?
It was hard, really, really hard at the time. When Peter went, I had one property on the market.
Wow.
One property. I had about 15 or 17,000 pound in the pipeline. I then had 2 years of not earning any money at all, and I was up to my eyes in debt.
And did you buy him out of the business? Is that what happened?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I bought him out of the business. It took about 2 years to fully buy him out.
Yeah.
But he sort of packed up his desk one day and went. And so it was quite hard from that point of view. But certainly the best decision I've ever made. And then trying to juggle looking after the kids.
How old were they then?
So Zach was 12 and the girls were 6. So they were still quite little.
Young, dependent.
Lots of school runs, lots of, meetings with teachers.
Yeah.
And I relied very much on a lot of my friends. My friends were amazing, and I had this great big car, a 7-seater car, and I would look after everybody else's children so that I could use up my brownie points.
Yes.
And could you drop the girls off? Could you do this? Would you mind doing
It takes a village, right?
Oh.
We're all in that position, regardless of the
Absolutely.
situation. You really need people around you when you've got young kids.
Yeah, no, and that was that. I was blessed because I was around a load of lovely families that we'd all help each other out, and it was amazing. So I am very, very grateful for that period of time. Got me through all sorts of things. It was quite hard, but we're through it, and I look back now and I think, how on earth did I
How
do
did
that?
you do it? Yeah. And what did you learn about yourself during that period?
I think I learned that I am very resilient. You learn very much how to juggle everything. You're constantly juggling, and I missed certain aspects of being able to, like we were saying earlier, where we'd come home and we'd discuss varying things that had happened during the day. I missed that terribly.
Yeah.
And I missed being able to sort of voice how I was feeling and things along those lines. But I did
And just
learn...
bounce ideas off each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. Choices that you need to make, decisions about staff, basic things.
Exactly. So yes, and there has been times where, I've come to a situation where I've got to make an important decision about something, and I've just burst into tears, completely unexpected.
Yeah.
But it's that pressure that is on you. It's solely on you.
Yeah.
And I've got staff to pay, and I've got, bills to pay, and I've got children to look after, and it's all on me. So it would just, every now and again, I'd just tip just slightly over the edge.
Totally, understandably.
Yeah, and then just burst into tears, and then it's all fine.
Yeah.
And then it all seems quite clear what you should do.
I think that's one of the most amazing thing about women, personally, which is we can have our moments. We can burst out crying. We can have a moan to our friends. And then within half an hour, we've got it out. We've shared the load, even if nobody's listening. But we can then move on.
We can.
And I think that's a phenomenal thing to have in our toolkit, that we can allow ourselves that moment of vulnerability, and then we dust ourselves down and we move on.
Yes, no, that's absolutely right. No, I
So
totally
tell
agree.
me now, Fiona, about your business now. So you've been through a long, ups and downs, difficult periods. Tell me about your business now, and what does it look like today?
So it's been through varying recessions, credit crunches,
Yeah.
all sorts of things. I've got, quite by mistake, an all-woman team. We are 6 of us, and well, 7 if you include my my lady who's just gone on maternity leave.
Oh, okay.
Again, which we're very delighted for her, but we hope she's going to come back. So we're all women. We are probably 50-50 now as far as rentals and sales are concerned. We've had varying challenges. I mean, all the estate agents that are opening constantly. For a long, long time, there was 5 estate agents in Crowborough.
Right.
And now we've got 10.
Wow.
And
that's 10 with high street presence.
Yes, yeah.
And that's not including the self-employed, personally branded agents around the area as well.
And there's loads of those as well.
Yeah.
Loads of those. So we've seen all sorts of challenges.
Yeah.
But our brand is quite well respected and recognised. And we all get on so well. And I think
with your competitors.
No.
Oh,
no.
in your branch.
Within our branch. Within our branch, we're really good friends. We socialise together and we get on really, really well. And a lot of my staff I've had for a long time. So Kelly's been with me for 17 years, 18 years.
Fantastic.
Maybe.
So proper loyalty.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you build these lovely relationships with these people.
Yes. That's the best thing about this industry.
It really is. It really is. And it's not just our colleagues, it's some of our customers and our trades and our tenants and everybody. I've made so many lovely friends over the years and it has been quite amazing.
So given that you've had all these challenges over the years and new competitors, and that's not going to change because there's going to be many, many more of that coming, how have you staved off the competition? How have you been able to rise above the rest of your competitors to maintain that level of really solid business over the years? I
think we've always provided a very good level of service. People remember. I get lots of customers where I've sold them a house 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. And they will always come back to me. Yeah. And I think that's the key to it. And then having the rental portfolio where it's a consistent business stream. Yes. Yeah. And so certain things in business you can't foresee. The economic climate, and
it's completely out of our control as well.
You can be the best estate agent in the world, but if if properties aren't selling, they're not selling. Yeah. So I've relied heavily on the rental portfolio in the past, and I'm sure I will again in the future. But at the moment, it's about 50% of the business. Yeah. So it's been a mainstay, and having the two sort of sections of business running side by side. It
mitigates the risk when one is doing well and the other, and that typically they're counter-cyclical, aren't they? So that helps. Yes. Just going back to your time in the US, and clearly getting your license in the US was a big achievement for you. I'm interested in your views on licensing or regulation for a estate agency in the UK. What's your thoughts on that?
I think we should be licensed. I really do. I think it would stop people looking at estate agencies as estate agents as the sort of lower citizens.
Yes. Do you still feel that people, anecdotally, in your interactions with customers, do you still feel that they see us as one step up from a traffic warden?
Not as much.
Yeah.
But it is still there. Yeah. And having worked in America, it was
next level, right?
Very much. You were put up there. The solicitors and doctors were actually the ones that were sort of, not well respected.
Yeah.
So yes, I really feel that we should have licensing
Yeah.
and making people accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
And so they can't just, set up, oh, estate agency, that seems easy.
An easy way to make money.
Yes, absolutely. And obviously COVID was an interesting time. And we had to maintain a business whilst not really being very present.
Yeah.
And that was a hard time.
Yeah.
But it was a license to print money at
Yeah.
the same time. And I think people have seen that and thought, oh, that's really easy. And actually it's really not.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
making things work in a bad market is where you thrive.
Yeah. Good agents will always thrive in any market.
Yes. Yeah.
The cream rises to the top.
Yes, and it's easy to make money in a good market.
Yeah.
And it's those who can't survive during the harder times.
Yeah.
They get washed out.
Absolutely. So I guess final couple of questions from me, Fiona. You mentioned that you've got an all-woman team. Obviously, Women in Estate Agency is a movement that we've, I think, helped evolve the sector over the last few years and shine a light on some of the inconsistencies and inequality. Have you experienced in your life in estate agency, have you experienced what you perceive to be maybe disadvantages in any way because you were female? Have you had any challenges in that regard?
Yes, a lot. I do know, there's certain people that I go and see, clients, and that they want to be talking to a man. I've had it in going to see people,
Yeah.
and I've also had it with trades. I had it with an accountant once. He just would not look at me, and it was like, and I think it was purely I was a woman.
Yeah.
So yes, it was very much. It is a male-dominated industry, but it's nice to see that women are doing much more practically in the business.
Yeah.
Because I feel like women seem to have more empathy, and that's, I haven't gone out looking for women to employ.
Yeah. They happen to be the best person for the job.
Without a doubt.
And that's exactly what equality should be. Whoever is the best person for the job.
Exactly.
It's the removing of the unconscious or sometimes conscious bias and prejudice.
Yes.
But you're absolutely right. And I see it myself. I'm a 5'4" female CEO. My husband is 6'2". Quite often when we go places, they look to him.
Yes.
And I'm his wife, as opposed to, no, I'm here because I was invited. He's my +1. And I've experienced that a lot, and with members of my team as well. So there is a lot of that unconscious, sometimes conscious bias. But I think you're right. I think it is changing. I think it is improving, but there's still a long way for us to go.
Yes, absolutely.
So my final question, Fiona, is this is a seat that tells stories, or the people on it tell stories. Who would you like to see in this seat in the future?
Oh dear.
Who do you know in the industry? Who have you met that you think has an inspiring or interesting story to tell us?
I think Ben.
Ben Madden?
Yes.
Yes, I have actually interviewed Ben, so he has been on the seat. Yeah.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's absolutely phenomenal. I know him mainly through Digital Sparks.
Yes.
But he's just the most grounded family man that just runs a fantastic operation.
He'd be blushing upstairs now. And he does, because he's an estate agent turned supplier, so he can see it from both perspectives. But you're absolutely right. He's got a brilliant story, and he's a fantastic person. So thank you for that nomination too.
No.
Fiona, thank you. It's been absolutely lovely to talk to you and lovely to hear about your story. And well done. Fantastic on being another female founder, director of a fantastic business. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening, for tuning in. Please share, like and subscribe if you like what you see, and we will see you next time on the We Pod.